We might be a small group today since the call yesterday got kind of messed up. Hello, people that are here. I'll give it a few minutes in case. I have a nice intimate group today, you guys. Hope you have lots of questions. Let me give it like 2 minutes and then we'll start.
Lisa, I'm traveling, so I'm going to have my video off.
Oh, no problem. Most people leave them off. Some people have them on, but
okay. Thank you.
Of course. Hello. We're giving it a few minutes to start, Tina, because this was supposed to be yesterday, and so I'm sure a bunch of people probably aggravated that they didn't get their email yesterday with the link. That was just a misstep on the other side. And we realized I got on the meeting and I'm sitting here alone, no one here. Maybe I'm in the wrong meeting. So I went back and looked at the email. I'm like, this is the right link. And then I realized it was still, we have another company that sends our emails for us, and it was still in the unsent. I'm like, oh no. All in the customers got quite a few notes from people upset that there was no meal. Sorry, guys. And no, Thursdays are probably not the same kind of time slot available for people. So it might just be a small group today because of that. So
that's cool. This is my first time logging in. So.
Oh, welcome. We're glad to have you. These calls are usually, there usually is a good 30 plus people in them. They're usually pretty well, a lot of the same people come and some new people every time also. And what I usually do is I cover like a topic, whatever the topic in the email is that month, and I talk about that first. And then I kind of open it up to questions of anything relating to the topic or nutrition or products, just anything basically that I have expertise in to answer, we can talk about after that. So, and then usually actually runs the full hour. Sometimes it even runs over, but since there's so few people today, I'm thinking it might not. We'll see. But maybe we can get going. So I'm not sure if the rest of you are new or first timers, but in case you are new, I'm Lisa. I'm the nutritionist here at Regeneration. This is Katerina, my assistant. And she is the one that if you do the Facebook group, she interacts with you regularly on there. She also does all the social media interactions that if you do that, she's my right-hand man in every way, shape, and form. So pretty much anything I can answer, she can answer also. So, and lots of times she knows more things than I know. So today's topic we decided to do is traveling, healthfully traveling, with and without juices. But there are ways to travel with the juices too, and we get those questions a lot. We even have a full blog dedicated to it. If you're part of the Signature Reset, we have a whole reference guide dedicated to it. We've done reels dedicated to and emails, and because it's a common question, how to stay healthy when you travel. And it's always a balance. How healthy do I want to stay, and how much fun do I want to have with the food and drinks that I have? And there definitely, I think, is a balance. You can definitely do both and not get totally off your goals and come home 10 pounds heavier or feeling yucky or whatever. There's things you can do to mitigate some of that. So that's what this is about today. If you have a question while I'm talking, just do a little raise hand and I'll stop. Otherwise, I'll open it up at the end. So the first thing, well, let's talk about first planning ahead when you travel. So this is by car, by plane, by train, whatever. Always look at the destination you're going to first and kind of, this is what I do anyway. I always kind of do a little research around where I'm going. So I get an idea of the lay of the land as far as, is there a juice bar nearby? Is there a healthy restaurant nearby? Is there a supermarket or a farmer's market nearby? Because what I recommend you do, the very first thing before you even get to your hotel, this is what I typically do anyway, or your Airbnb or whatever, I stop at the supermarket or whatever market I find, a Whole Foods, a regular supermarket, it doesn't matter. And I stock up on things that I know will help me stay on track. So even if you're deciding to say, do a couple meals a day or snacks healthy, you can still have an indulgent dinner or whatever the case might be. I'll talk about that later. But you have things to grab in your hotel room that are going to keep you full, satiated, and also on track with your goals. So for me, that usually looks like going to a supermarket. And if you don't know, I primarily eat a raw diet, raw vegan diet. I eat some other things here and there. I will have, some animal protein here and there, and I will have some cooked things. But for the most part, I 90% eat raw fruits and vegetables. So I usually stock up on those. I'll get things that are able to stay at room temperature. So like apples, oranges, clementines, things like that. I'll pick up usually a little bottle of healthy olive oil for myself. I usually get some nuts or some olives, all kinds of different healthy things. I'll always keep those in my room. Bananas, and then I'll also get things that like cut up fruit bowls or grapes and carrots and hummus or that kind of stuff. It's a whole bunch of stuff you can get. And that always makes it much easier for me personally to succeed. Now, when I eat out, it's always a challenge, whether I'm away or I'm home. So rarely do I get a large enough volume of food that I feel full because if you haven't been here before, my meal. If you have been, you know that my meals are large. So I don't eat like an orange for lunch. I eat like 12 oranges for lunch because I'm eating mostly raw fruits and vegetables. So if I'm only eating fruit until dinner time, the volume I have to eat to get the same calories you have to get from your burger or something is I need the same calories to function, right? So I have to add a lot of volume of the foods that I eat. So there's no restaurant that's going to give me that kind of volume of food, of salads or fruits. So I always have to supplement either before I go or after I come back from eating, most places. I look at if a place has like an avocado and a baked potato, then I'm pretty solid for being full. But otherwise, so yeah, stocking up is number one, the key. And also, like I said, scoping out. So I usually try to find a juice bar locally that I can either walk to or drive to, or just like a healthy like luncheonette kind of place where I can do a grab and go salad at the beach or something if I want. To have like what I try to do is to be control of at least one or two of my meals in like a hotel setting. Because usually it's rare when you're on vacation you're eating every single meal out. I think most people like maybe grab a couple meals out, have snacks in between or whatever. And so when you have more control over the meals, or when you choose to say, okay, my first two meals of the day are going to be healthy and dinner I'm just going to splurge, then you're only really messing up your goals one meal a day. And you can still like have dinner be quasi healthy, quasi not, and still do okay. Know what I mean? So maybe you have two drinks instead of four, or maybe you have, a salad instead of the fries with like your burger or something. Like you can do like a little happy medium and still enjoy the cultural food of the place you're in, I feel anyway. So there's one staple that I always, always, always believe you should have on hand when you travel, or ask for when you travel. So does anyone take a guess, or should I just tell you? Feel free to guess if you have a guess. If you read the email recently, because it was in there not that long ago. Yeah. It's as oh yeah. Oh, Karish, you must have read something. That's it. It's a fridge. Yep. So always asking. I always, always, always request a mini fridge in the room. And I mean, every hotel has them. They have them for clients that are like diabetics or people that have medications. They have to have refrigeration available, whether it's behind their desk or the mini fridges. I've never had someone question me about asking for one. I always request it, and I always get one in the room. If I'm going to be somewhere for more than a day or two, like fine. But if you're going to be there multiple days, don't set yourself up for failing. So I always request a mini fridge, and that makes for me it's like a game changer because then I can have that cut up fruit with little plastic forks, or I could have whatever stuff I want to have, and I can eat that kind of stuff. So that kind of leads into what I was saying before about navigating healthy choices at restaurants or bars when you're out. And this is like whether you're home or out, really, but it's a little bit more complex when you're on vacation because most people, unless you have an efficiency or a timeshare, don't have a full kitchen at your disposal where you're staying, right? So you're kind of at the whim of whatever restaurants are around you or supermarkets are around you. That's why I lean heavily on supermarkets, because you know what you're putting into your body from a supermarket. You know, if you're getting a salad bar, what you're putting into your salad. If you're making your own dressing, like from the olive oil and vinegar there, you're not getting like a bottle dressing full of junk. So if you can control as much as you want to control. But in restaurants, if you haven't ever read, with our programs, we have the Stay Skinny Method, we have the Signature Reset, we have the intermittent fasting, all those weight loss systems have a guide in them of how to eat out healthfully. So if you've never, if you've done those programs and not use the resources, you should, because I write them all. They're good PDFs. They're things I've given my clients. Every single one of my clients gets a folder, and that's one of the things that every one of my clients gets. It's how to eat out in restaurants, and it's a full guide. So if you have any of those programs, you have access to those guides. If you don't, I'm going to give you an abbreviated version here at this call. What I do when I eat at a restaurant is, before looking at the actual dishes that they offer, I look at the ingredients in the dishes. For me personally, because I like to build a salad most times. Like I said, I eat mostly a raw dinner. So like if I see that this dish has arugula and this one has tomatoes and this one has this and that, like I'll just say, I want to build my own salad, please. And I'll build it. I'm a pain in the neck and I don't care. I said, please write this down. I want to build my own salad. And 20 years into this, I don't care anymore when I get the weird looks from waitresses. I'm just nice about it. But there's also things you can do. For example, like say you're at an Italian restaurant. That's a typical place where it's difficult to eat. because aside from like a house salad and maybe some like sauteed broccoli or spinach, there's not a whole lot of really clean stuff on Italian menus. They're obviously pasta heavy, meat and fish heavy, which is fine if they're cooked properly, but sometimes they're not. So what I would usually do, like a typical example of how to order chicken parm in a restaurant, you can take a regular chicken parm, which is breaded chicken cutlet, sauce and cheese and spaghetti or whatever. And you can transform that and ask them to do grilled chicken instead of breaded. And you can ask them for vegetables or salad instead of the pasta. And now you have an actual healthy dinner instead of a refined carb laden dinner. It's going to make you feel bloated, probably put a couple pounds on you, and you're also going to feel tired and all the things that unhealthy foods make you do. And the other meal option, it's not the cleanest, but it's definitely very clean, and you'll feel good after you eat it. And you probably won't notice detriment the next day, negative effects the next day. And you can make those kinds of adjustments. You'd be surprised. I mean, I remember when I used to, as most of you probably know if you've ever read any of my stories and things in the past, I went through a lot of different dietary regimens before I landed where I landed 20 years ago. When I was in school learning to be a nutritionist, I tried all the things. So on one of the many things I tried, I remember I think I had cut out all carbs, which I don't recommend ever doing, by the way. But aside from that, I cut out all carbs. And so I remember I would go to my local diner, and I would order the chicken primavera pasta, no pasta. So I basically got a bowl of chicken and vegetables with the sauce, but no pasta. And like they look at you a little nuts, but they do it, and you have a full dinner. So if you can like be a little vocal about what you need and just like be clear about what's the things that you whether it's you don't want gluten, you don't want unhealthy oil, you don't want dairy, you can request those things. And most places, especially now, are much more used to it. Like when I did this 20 years ago, people thought I had three heads because there was no such thing as gluten-free. There wasn't even like whole wheat pasta back then. There was nothing healthy, like really 20 years ago. And now it's very common for people to ask for special things. So maybe you don't want to do it if you're going on a first date or something, but if you're with someone you are comfortable with ordering how you normally order, and if you're at a place for multiple days in a row and you don't want to feel like junk for your whole vacation, to me, it makes sense to just ask for what you want or to make, decide where you want your concessions to be. Same kind of thing with drinking. So people always ask me, can I drink and still lose weight, or can I drink and still be healthy? So, I mean, I certainly enjoy drinking now and again. I'm not a big drinker by any means. I never have been, but there are definitely versions of alcohol that are clean versus alcohol that is not clean. And so the clean, quote unquote, alcohol choices that I find are wine and or like clear alcohols like a tequila or vodka. So doing something like a tequila soda with lime, that's something like seltzer and lime, or like I also love like a nice dirty martini. That's probably my favorite drink. That's pretty clean. I would highly recommend against having beer, having mixers, unless you're like at a place, and there are some high-end places now that will tell you, oh, this is fresh squeezed juice and fresh muddled mint. And like, I mean, if that's the case, go for it. Have like a fancy drink. But most places are using sugar, mixers, syrups, dyes, colors, all the things that you don't want to be having. And you're having in addition to alcohol. So you're asking like for hangovers, weight gain, candida. You're asking for all the problems when you do that. So definitely try to stick with cleaner drinks for the majority of your drinks, and you'll feel and look better. Before I go on to how to physically travel like with our juices, do you have any questions thus far? Oh, okay. So if you haven't seen our recent reel, Katerina actually made a reel. She and I went away a couple weekends ago, and she made a reel of how to travel with our juices. This is interesting because when I created Signature Reset, which is our program for 90 days to lose 20 pounds and keep it off, I tested that with the test group for 3 months before we launched it. And I made all the tweaks to the program based on their feedback to me. And in the confines of that test group, one of the women regularly traveled for her job almost every week. So she said, I don't know if I can be in this test group. She's a friend of mine, so I let her be in anyway. So I don't know if I can be in this group because I travel so much. How am I going to do this? I'm like, well, you know what? It's perfect. I want to know how you're going to do it, because there are other people that are in our customer base that are going to travel for work and have to learn how to manage this. So she discovered that if you take 4 of our bottles of juice, frozen, fully frozen, and you put them in a double Ziploc gallon bag, so 2 bags, one for condensation, one just to keep it closed, and they're close together like that, you pretty much only fit 4, maybe with a shot or 2. They are like, it's almost like a frozen brick because they're so tight, and they will stay frozen. So you pack them, whether in your carry-on or wherever you want to pack them, and they will stay frozen until you get to the other side where you're flying. And so you can fly with them. You can fly with frozen liquids. You can't fly with liquids. So all the time she traveled, which were many times, she never once had them confiscated. And I've had many customers tell us the same that have tried it since. They one even traveled to Canada without a problem. out of the country. So I'm not sure if all countries are going to be as lenient with that. I don't know all the rules with customs and stuff, but she traveled with them weekly without any problem, never had them confiscated. So she did that. And then what she would do, of course, is have the mini fridge, and she would put them right into the mini fridge as soon as she got there, and she would just drink them within the next day or two. And that's how she got her greens in. And then a few places where she was longer stay, she requested a freezer, or asked if they had a hotel freezer, and they were kind of put her bags in their hotel freezer, and she just took them out every couple of days. So, they're pretty accommodating if you just speak up and ask for what you need. You don't have to necessarily say, okay, well, I'm going away. Here goes all my work for the last 6 months, and I'm going to come back and have to start all over again. You don't have to do that. You can if you want. But I think most of us don't really want to do work for nothing and have to make it all up. So, help yourself a little with your choices. Kat, did I miss anything that you would say? I mean, you travel. Katerina eats an extremely clean diet, and she has done a lot of traveling. So, she may have things to add that I didn't even think of.
I think you got everything. I mean, scaling out where you're going is really important. This way you can be prepared. I mean, most shore or tropical areas will have healthier options. It's a lot easier to eat clean, I notice, when I'm next to the shore. Yeah, just making sure you plan ahead, travel with your ice packs. Yeah,
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
When you travel like Midwest or like even in the South, it is much harder to find health. I mean, like much harder to find healthy options. I've done road trips. Like I used to sing a lot in Nashville. And so I would have to pack a whole cooler to bring with me to like live out of. Because it's like every single street is a fast food place. They just eat differently in those areas of the country. In the Midwest too, they're much more meat, cheese, animal focused. You can't really find as much produce, or especially not organic produce, just not as common, so you have to plan more in advance for those kind of destinations. But Katerina is 100% right. When you travel to tropical places, you'll find all kinds of fruits and juices and much lighter fare fish and healthier vegetables and things. It's much more common to find in those areas for sure. So definitely have to like kind of think about where you're going and plan accordingly to that. Interestingly enough too, I'm sure you've heard about this, but if you travel to Europe and things, a lot of people that can't eat things here can eat things in Europe. So I'm sure you've heard of this before, but like people that are gluten intolerant here can often tolerate eating things with gluten in Europe because the quality is so vastly different than what we have here. Like insanely different. Gluten hurts us here. Wheat hurts us here. It's GMO. It's covered in glyphosate. All kinds of stuff. But meanwhile, if you go to Europe, those things aren't even allowed in Europe, and it's like heirloom wheat lots of the times, or things that have been around for years, and just different kind of cooking styles altogether. And just people can eat pizzas and croissants and stuff and not have any kind of negative effects. Whereas if they had that here, they'd be so bloated, look pregnant, or in pain. It's pretty amazing.
Another thing I would add is when I go away, I used to be a lot more strict, but weight loss isn't really my goal at this point in life. It's more health focused. So what I do is like majority of my meals, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks will be good. And I'll pick 1 or 2 days where I just let myself kind of have like a dinner I normally wouldn't, a drink I normally wouldn't. Feel like there needs to be like a little bit of balance, because if you're going on vacation to enjoy yourself, the stress from trying to plan and go crazy can be a lot. I think just having like maybe 1 or 2 days or meals, even not a full day, where you can look forward to and reward yourself and enjoy yourself is important.
Not like have guilt about it either. Just like enjoy and then start fresh the next morning again. Like that's the key to it. You can't that's whether you're trying to eat healthy or letting yourself quote unquote, cheat or not eat healthy. If one of those things causes an immense amount of stress to you, it undoes the good that it's doing. So a lot of stress around watching what you eat, if that causes stress to you, that's going to cause your body to produce cortisol, which is going to produce fat around your belly, which is the opposite of what you want. Or if you're going to let yourself indulge something you love to have, but you're going to berate yourself after and feel guilty, that's also going to do the same thing and cause the opposite of the effect. So either you have to it's a mindset. You know what I mean? It's a mindset you have to make. Like if you're allowing stress to be focused, if eating good or bad causes you stress, it's not the right choice. Whatever that choice that you're making is not the right one.
Yeah. And also, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I don't want to interrupt.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm just gonna forget because I'm old. Lisa, I don't know if you remember me. I'm the one who took all your boxes.
You're the one what
Took all your boxes
took all my boxes.
from moving.
No,
Did you just recently move?
no, not in 6.5 years.
Okay, so someone in your company told me about your company and gave me a whole bunch of juices, and I took their boxes from moving. They live in Ocean.
Oh, interesting. Okay, it's not me, but all of us live kind of local to here. So
Okay, well,
imagine you got our boxes.
no, not your raw generation boxes, moving boxes.
Oh, I wonder whose they were. It wasn't mine, but someone here, I guess.
So, quick question.
Yeah.
Just because I'm going to forget, I didn't hear what you said about how they were able to travel with them.
By plane.
Right.
Okay, so what you do is you take 4 of our large size bottles and pack them into a gallon Ziploc bag. They're going to fit just very snugly in that bag. Yes, perfect. 4 of those will fit snugly in a gallon Ziploc bag, and then double it so it doesn't have condensation all over your clothes or whatever, and seal it. And if they're fully frozen, when you get to the airport, they'll stay frozen for a very long time that way. So you can
And
travel.
they'll let you take them if they're frozen.
Yes. Yep.
Awesome.
I mean,
And then
you always run the risk, I guess. But like I said, this woman never ever had a problem. She went all over the country, every single week, different places, and they never had a problem. So
I have also heard, but I have never tried, that if you tell TSA that it's medical, they can't take the liquid away.
and I
Have you-
actually have a medical letter because I have
okay,
issues.
so you might be able to even avoid the whole
process.
keeping it. I wouldn't risk it personally.
I
would
wouldn't
give
either.
a
I'll do
letter
that.
and
Yeah.
do it the way we're telling you because we know this works.
Yeah.
But I have heard, because I always get annoyed with the water choices in the airport because it's $8 for a bottle of water, and I don't want the one from like the water fountain.
Yes,
And-
I know. I'm waiting for my coconut water.
And I just find it annoying how I have to buy I'm forced to buy their plastic water for $8, and it's just, I always want to try getting my water in and saying it's medical, but I just don't have the guts to do it yet.
So they don't sell your glass water in any airports. I'm surprised. they
No,
haven't yet.
only plastic. They might do the little Pellegrino or Aquapanas, but I've never seen it in glass before personally.
Oh,
Not
so
at
they
least at
just-
Newark. Maybe in another country, but not here.
Oh, hell no.
One other quick question. The vanilla grains, is that a juice or is that a smoothie?
Smoothie.
Yeah. They don't do well with me.
Well, if you have stomach issues, you probably should be careful with the smoothies that have a fat and fruit mixed
No.
in them.
I don't drink them.
Yeah, you're better off if you have gastro problems. Stick with
Yeah.
the juices.
Yeah, I'm addicted to the juices.
Oh, good. They're a good
Yeah.
thing that's addicted to.
I've referred so many people, but I really thought it was you.
My moving boxes. I'm so
Yeah.
curious. Kat, anybody who moved recently that would have moving boxes?
They
No,
live in Ocean. and
Besides Jess and Greg,
they have babies. They have 2 little kids.
oh, it has to be Jess and Greg.
it's got to be Jess and
That's
Greg.
our co-founder, Jess Rosen.
Okay, she gave me like 8 bottles, and I was just, I'm from LA.
Oh,
So
nice.
Oh, nice.
drinking cold pressed juice for ages, and I know there's a lot of controversy about the cold press, but
Yes.
why is that?
Oh, because there's controversy about everything. For every good thing, someone says something
Um,
bad, and bad thing says something good. But
My
It's-
easiest answer to that question is follow the money. There's really no money when certain entities actually have the ability to heal. There's no
Yeah.
money in healing. That's really the answer.
Yeah, I know.
Profitability.
I'm having back surgery in a few weeks.
Yeah. And I'm sure if you look at the bill, you'll be like, wow.
Yeah.
So
No,
So-
this is an amazing company. I've referred a ton of people,
oh, so that's great to hear. Thank you.
like in other states.
we have a referral program, just letting you know if you do that.
You should be a part of that if people are buying because you get major savings as the referrer.
How
You
do
get
you
like-
do that? Because my friends
gonna
who have
post a
literally
link.
just subscribe.
She'll post the link for you, and then what you do is she'll get a discount. She'll get 10% off. You get, I think, is it 20?
$25.
Towards your next order, and you can compile them. So if you see you for 3 people in 1 week and all 3 of them buy, you'll have $75 off your next order, no matter what it is that you order.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
That's
it's pretty-
great.
So
Yeah.
here is the link for the referral program.
Do I
Um,
It,
so
I'm
you
very
just
computer illiterate.
you click the link, the what I just sent in the chat, and you click
The one that
refer.
went away.
Did it go away? It should still be there.
It's just click the little chat box there. It'll
Yeah.
say-
If you see that little bubble on the bottom right hand corner, if you click that, the convo will come up on the side, and just click that link, and you click partner with us all the way on the. Wait.
Ted, do you see it?
I saw it for a second and I clicked on
Right,
it,
it's
but nothing
gone.
popped up or anything. So
Are you? Do you guys see the chat, like the white chat that says in call messages on the right hand side?
No.
Okay,
No.
on the bottom of your tap your screen and see if a bubble comes up for next
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
nothing.
Sarah
I
said
saw
yes.
it.
Here, let me send it again and you guys can click it. See if that works.
You just click in the box
Got
itself and keep to the chat, and the chat will stay open.
Now what do I do? Because there's 2 different
You'll-
other things that came up.
So you'll click that link and then all the way, you might be on your phone, so I have the desktop
No, I'm
version.
on my iPad.
Okay, where it says refer a friend, that's what you want. It should be a girl drinking from the fridge.
Yeah, I see her.
Okay, that's what you're gonna click and fill out. And
Got it.
it'll tell you step by step what to do.
Got it. Now how do I get back to you?
That I'm not sure.
We can
So
still see you.
I have a question.
Sure.
I do travel for work too. And so what, I've got a week trip coming up. Have you you know, put juices in, like, you know, for the luggage? And, you know, is there any best experiences there? So I didn't know whether I'm going to use a cooler or a box or what.
Oh,
So any
you fly? You're
experience there?
going by plane? You're
I'm
traveling
sorry?
you're traveling by plane?
Yes.
What we have done is, I don't know if you were on the call at this point when I was saying about the bag, the Ziploc bags, the double bags. Were you there?
Yeah, but I want to take like you know, a whole week's worth. So I was
Oh.
thinking of putting it into a
Well, what you could do,
cooler
I mean, you
or
could, do
something.
you have any of our boxes left? 'Cause
I do.
It would travel right if it's packed tight in the box. If it's full, it'll stay frozen for up to 3 days.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, 2 days easily, 3 days depending on how hot it is. So it'll stay frozen in that box. It's like a very strong cooler. That's why we use that kind of. I mean, those are most eco-friendly. It's the only way we can get our juices in 2 days across the country and have it not melt.
But he might not be able to get that on the plane.
I don't know. I mean, he should be able to check it certainly.
Yeah, that's why I mean check.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It could be a check
Yeah.
box for sure.
So I
Okay.
figured I'd take enough on the plane with me to get me through the day or the flights, and then put the rest in luggage.
Are
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
visiting family by any chance?
No,
Oh, okay.
I travel for work. So it's
Okay.
yeah.
I was gonna say if you had a destination that you knew, like if family was there, you could just send it to the house, but that doesn't work.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you can certainly pack it in our box and check the box. That would work.
I didn't know you're allowed to do that.
Yeah. Can.
Yeah, you can put liquids on a plane if they're in the luggage, I believe. So
Yes. Even
Yeah.
like even loose liquids that aren't frozen, you certainly can if they're in luggage. I was talking more so if you want to carry it on with
Yeah.
you. can put
Gotcha.
them- Yeah. Yep. Good questions, you guys. We still have some time. And any of the rest, do you need to talk about anything? Product related, just nutrition related, general, diet related, health related.
I
Yeah,
got
we-
about 1,000 questions.
Well, the floor is yours. If no one else has any, 'cause I got 30 minutes. I can
Okay.
sit here and answer any questions you want.
So I'm fairly new, and I think I've been into it for about 3 weeks now.
Okay.
And I did a cleanse before I started the reset.
Oh,
But
you're doing the research. Great. Okay.
and so I'm in the second or third week of the reset.
Okay.
Everything's going good, but you talk about free foods. I picked it up maybe on a lentil recipe or something like that.
Mhm.
But I is there a list of that somewhere, or is there something?
Oh, so that in the recipes, the 55 recipes that you get there, I have a little F by the ones that are the free foods, and those are in fact the free foods. What that means is that they can be had any time in the day in any quantity without worrying about food combining or weight problems. So you can like have the lentil soup, for example, is fat free, more or less, very little fat. So you can have it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner in any order. So you know like that whole program is based on learning to eat light to heavy in your days, as you
Right.
probably learned. So it's key to know which foods are the free foods because those are the ones that you don't have to worry about having with before or after fat or anything like that. I mean, in addition, all raw, all fruits and vegetables are free foods for the most part. You know, it's just you're going to be more careful having fruit after once you already had fat in your day. You don't want to be having fruit again, ideally.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't.
Ideally. That's why
Okay.
you want to kind of have your fat later in the day. So I recommend having like your not introducing fat sources until like later afternoon or dinner time. Ideally, you wouldn't have fat till dinner. That's what I do. That's what I've done for many years, and that's what I came to after all the years I did everything possible to lose weight and get healthy. So I personally eat pretty much. It's usually fruit, juices, and or smoothies all day long, and then at dinner time I have no restriction on the amount of fat that I eat, but I will wait till dinner time to have it. So I might like for my salad last night, it was large. I mean, it's like the size of your serving bowl, literally. And there'll be maybe 1 or 2 avocados on it, olive oil. I'll have 1 or 2 potatoes with it. I'll have sometimes some hemp seeds on it. Like I don't even think twice about how much I have. And I just do totally fine with that. And I'm certainly not an easy weight loss person. It was a lot for me to learn to lose weight. So
And I have another one is I'm kind of mentally trying to understand the potato thing. I don't know because it's a carb and past diets, carbs were kind of. But
Yep.
I noticed you said no matter really what time of day it is, but if you need something, right, or you got that hunger, that potatoes are okay. Is that am I correct there? And maybe you could help me understand it a little bit better. Why they're okay, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I will. My take on fruit, sugar, and
Lisa, I don't
carbs.
want to interrupt. I have patients, so I have to run, but where do I find these recipes you're talking about?
They're part of the Signature Reset program. So if you're in the Signature Reset, they're in. So you have to be part of that program. Either the Signature Reset or the Stay Skinny Method has a bunch of recipes in it. Have you done either of those?
I haven't done anything except for subscribe. Because
Okay.
I'm a pretty clean eater and I'm very knowledgeable about it.
Okay. If you want, Katerina, do you want to maybe take an email from Susan and we can send her one of the recipe guides so she could try them since she's there, but not doing the program? You're muted.
Susan, are you able to type your email in the chat box?
Where's the trap box?
That bubble on the bottom.
There isn't one.
I'm
Maybe
not sure how
Do
we.
you want to just send her?
You know what? I'll send it to Raw Generation.
Send it to either Lisa Testa at Raw Generation or Katerina Gilardi at Raw Generation. One of our
No,
two.
my email doesn't have my
Is
last
Lisa
name.
Testa the one who has 2 little kids?
No,
Okay.
I'm Lisa Testa. I wish I had. I have the little kids that are in the little sippers. They're all my nieces and nephews, but they're not my children.
I just put my email in the chat if you click that.
It's
Okay.
Katerina.
I don't see it, but I will definitely.
I
There
put
you-
it again. Yeah, click that and copy and paste it and email me.
I'm just
It
going to
is.
screenshot of it. All right. Thank you guys. I'm sorry for interrupting, Ted, and
That's okay.
I'll join you again at some point.
Bye.
Take care, Susan. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Okay, so we're talking
Potatoes.
carbs, yeah, potatoes and sugar.
Yeah.
So carbs is kind of the bigger overarching carb discussion, and sugar. So like I was saying, I don't know if you know this from the past or from the videos, if you watched the whole e-course with the reset or not. But when I was in school, then I went through all these different types of dietary therapies for 2 years to learn what I know now. And what I learned was we thrive on carbohydrates. They're not our detriment. We just eat them improperly and eat the wrong types. So this has been proven now with my clients for over 20 years, with our customers now. I've done it in doctors' offices with diabetic clients, clients with heart disease, all kinds of, and it works for everyone pretty much. So I feel very confident that the system working. But this is the reason why. So all carbs are not created equal. So a plain baked potato or steamed potato is not the same as a French fry, as a potato chip, as mashed potatoes. Two different animals. The same base vegetable is used, but they're treated in very different ways. One is heated in olive oil, in oils or butter. One has things added to it. One is fried. Meanwhile, the baked or steamed potato is just plain, just cooked, but plain, boiled, baked, steamed, whatever. They are a very good source of fiber and healthy carbohydrates. So they're satiating. Meaning they fill you up, and they don't cause the negative effects that unhealthy versions of potatoes cause. And this is similar to fruit. So fruit sugar. I mean, if I get this question once a week, I get it every day. Well, how can I have all this fruit juice? It's so much sugar. I mean, these are people that are used to the diets that tell you to have half a banana at a time, or have low glycemic fruits like green apples and blueberries, and most people that have dieted have done these things. It does not work. It works for a short time. You will see results for sure with paleo or with keto kind of style diets, carnivore diets for a short term, but long term, your body will not be healthy for it. So, and it's not a sustainable plan to limit carbohydrates forever, because carbohydrates are a source of fuel. Protein is good for you, but it is not where we get our energy from. Carbohydrates are where we get energy from. People think I need more energy, so I'm going to have more protein. Protein helps rebuild muscle and transports red blood cells, basically oxygen in our blood cells. That's what it does. Carbohydrates break down in our bodies, and it's our instant source of energy, especially simple carbohydrates like fruits. So if you think about fruit sugar, which is fructose, it's one chemical step away from glucose, right? And glucose is what all of our energy comes from in our body. Glucose causes ATP to be created if you're a science person, and ATP is what allows you to walk, jump, talk, everything. Without it, we do nothing. And so fructose is a very efficient way to convert to glucose in our energy. It's like a one step. It's like, you eat a piece of fruit, you have energy 20 minutes later, or 10 minutes later, 5 minutes later, depending on how fast you digest. If you eat a steak, it's going to eventually also become glucose. It has to be before your body can use it. So, but it might take 2 or 3 hours and 6 or 7 chemical steps before it breaks down to that same glucose. It's going to make that same ATP to make your energy. So does that make sense? It's a very simplistic way to explain it, but all food that we eat breaks down to glucose eventually, in one way or another, or our bodies can't utilize it. So fruit, whole fruit, and even juiced fruit, if it's not pasteurized, is a very efficient way to get energy and nutrients and fuel. And it's not the same as refined sugar. So refined sugars, syrups, all the stuff that inherently is not good for you, but they're in all our foods. Those foods are what are known to cause weight gain, diabetes, cancers, heart problems, autoimmune disorders. And I would not recommend having refined sugars or refined carbohydrates at all ever to anyone. I mean, I read a book. This is what changed my life, actually. I was an Italian education major. I was reading a book at the time for fun. It was called What Would Jesus Eat, actually, and it was a new diet I hadn't tried, and I was willing to try any diet anytime that someone gave me to lose weight. I read the book front to back cover. I never touched white flour, white sugar again. And that is the God's honest truth. I mean, it changed my entire life, how I went from that point on. And I learned what those foods really are. But coming full circle to what I learned after many other years of studying, it's not wise to restrict your carbohydrates. In fact, it's detrimental to you, detrimental to your organs, detrimental to your weight loss, detrimental to your mood, your health, your overall wellness. So that's why the Signature Reset and all the programs I create here are carb heavy, because that's what we're meant to have. I recommend 80 to 90% of your diet a day being from fresh whole carbohydrates, and 10% fat, 10% protein. That's the ideal ratio you want to be aiming for. So that totally confused you, or did that clarify?
No, it helps. I'm just, like I said, it was kind of a mental block.
Well, it's funny. I wish Gary was here. I have a regular attendee who was in my very first reset group, and he almost always comes on these calls, but he probably couldn't join because it's Thursday, not a Wednesday. But he was like my spokesperson for the Signature Reset. He lost, I think, 36 pounds. He lived on potatoes. I mean, he had them every day, all day for lunch, he had them for snacks. And he's like, I can't believe he did Weight Watchers. He was like a lifetime Weight Watchers kind of a person. I can't believe I'm eating potatoes all the time and dropping all this weight. He just couldn't believe how effective it is as a weight loss tool. And it just is. I can't stress it enough. So until you try it, you'll see for yourself.
So I have one more. What about fish? So I live in Florida.
Okay.
I've got a fish market down the street, and I enjoy grilled fish. And I was trying to I got a piece of salmon recently with the skin on it, so I put the dressing, the Dijon dressing that you have in your book, and put
Good.
that on top of it and
Okay.
cooked it. And then I had a piece of swordfish though, and I put oil on it, a little bit of olive oil so it wouldn't stick and all that.
Mhm.
But I'm just curious, yeah, how do you feel about fish, and how do you feel about cooking it? I guess might be the other.
Yeah, I mean, fish is totally fine if it's a clean
Okay.
fish, and as a dinner meal for sure, it's a good choice. It's definitely a good protein source. I mean, I usually try to recommend wild caught fish when you can get it, just because it's so
Mhm.
much better for you than farm raised. Kat knows more about that than even I do, but that's what I always recommend for years. And as far as cooking it, I mean, using a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of butter, if it's very small, it's not going to really hurt you. You can also do like baking though on parchment without, and believe it or not, it does cook pretty well. Kat, have you ever cooked fish without any kind of fat? Other than bacon?
I
This is all
typically
about-
cook it in olive oil again because weight loss isn't my goal.
Yeah.
But you could definitely do it without. You could do it in like a little bit of
A little bit of water.
yeah, just if you want. I mean, I don't really like foil to be honest because you're literally cooking metal into your food, and I don't really advocate for that. But if you can find that
Glass Pyrex works.
yeah, or like an unbleached like little parchment paper and just put a little water on the bottom so that it's not sticking to whatever you're cooking on.
Or you could also try chicken broth. A little chicken broth is great to cook in if you want flavor or to replace olive oil. That's also, I've used that over the years. If you want to like kind of almost like poach, saute it kind of in a pan with some olive oil. I mean, I'm not olive oil, with broth. It cooks pretty well and gets really moist. That's one thing you could do. You could do it with chicken also.
Okay.
If that helps.
And I'll keep asking if nobody else is going to. You
I have a
mentioned this.
question.
Yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to go back to the ratio that you stated. I missed it, so I wanted to write it down.
Sure. I recommend 80 to 90% of your day being fresh, whole carbohydrates. That's fruits, vegetables, potatoes. You could also include beans and whole grains like quinoa, rice, oats in that if you wanted.
Okay.
And the rest of your day being 10% fat, healthy fat, and 10% protein. You could do more. You could do 80, 20, 20 also. That also, I mean, what did I say? 80, 10, 80, 10, 10 is what I usually recommend. 80% to 10, 10.
Okay. Protein and then fat.
So when you say healthy fat, I think of olive oil, or I think of avocados. Am I what other, type of foods are you talking about? Maybe is the best.
That's extra virgin olive oil, avocados, raw, untoasted nuts or seeds. But be careful if your goal is weight loss. They should only be used as a garnish, not as a snack. Don't take handfuls of them. You'll definitely not
Okay.
lose weight if you're doing that. Or they can be blended into a dressing, like the tahini dressing or the cashew dressing. When they're with water and blended, you'll eat a lot less of them, and they're fine to use in that way. Coconut and raw nut butter. Also, so I'll use sometimes like a raw almond butter base. If I want like a nice creamy almond butter kind of dressing, that's good with some lemon and some honey and salt. Healthy fats. I mean, and then as far as your protein sources can also be fat sources, but most of them are not too high in fat. But that would be your free range organic eggs, chicken, meats, fish, that kind of stuff. They're not really fat. I consider those the proteins in my head when I'm speaking, but they're also sources of smaller sources of fat as well. Did I leave any out? I don't think so. I think that was the majority of them. I mean, I don't know if you're eating dairy. Obviously, I recommend against most dairy in this program. But again, if you're going to have dairy, I recommend organic, grass-fed cheese, or that kind of thing. If you're going to go that route, to have it as clean as possible, but also to limit how much you're having if your goal is weight loss.
Okay.
So then things like Greek yogurt, does that fall into there?
It does. That falls into the dairy category. So again, if your goal is weight loss or gut health, I recommend against having it until you're to where you want to be and on a maintenance phase. And then at that point, you want to have a little bit here and there. do what you want. But it's really most people, not all people, some people can tolerate, most people do not tolerate that well when they're trying to lose weight. So if you've inherently been like a weight loss customer, not with us, just in general, like for a long time and have a difficult time losing weight, dairy's not going to help you do it.
Okay.
I've tried that. I think it was Golo
Okay.
yogurt, and interesting thing, it just had a tang to it that almost made me feel like maybe it wasn't good. But has that been your experience maybe
With yogurt?
yeah, or with that Golo? I think it was a coconut based yogurt or something.
I'm not familiar with what Golo promotes aside from their pills and their diet. I know I've in the little bit of reading I've done.
No, I said YOLO.
Oh, YOLO.
Yeah.
I don't know that. Kat, do you know that brand? I don't know it.
I thought it was in your. Maybe I'm not pronouncing it wrong because I thought it was in the list of, or one of your videos. I don't know. Okay.
I have Cocoa Yo in one. The coconut.
Yes, that's it. I'm sorry.
Yes, okay. That's the cleanest one we could find. It is more tangy. I actually don't even love it that much, but people that love yogurt want some kind of yogurt substitute. That's the cleanest one I could find.
I can agree.
Okay.
I think the Coconut Cult is another brand people go for. I could drop a link for that. It's very expensive though, honestly, and it has a very strange flavor in my
This is
opinion.
like, yeah, I get this tangy
Yeah.
flavor. Okay,
I think they add like some sort of probiotic and they like ferment it a certain way, and because it's not dairy, it's like really sour.
It's much more tangy. I feel like
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, at least I know it's not bad then.
No, it's a unique, it's like an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not for me.
Same.
You also mentioned the recipes with the Stay Skinny plan. Are they the same as the ones on the reset?
Yes. So the 55 recipes in the reset, we just extracted the ones that made the most sense. Well, I should say, extracted the ones that made the most sense for the Stay Skinny customers, and it's a smaller recipe.
Gotcha.
But we have the larger version as the reset. Yeah. So there's nothing you're missing there. But I'll give you a little hint. We're working on an actual recipe, like an actual book with photos and much more robust recipes with all the macros calculated and different options for people who want more protein versus less versus carb versus the whole thing. So it's a work in progress we're working on. So it's coming. I'm not sure exactly when, but it's coming.
Cool.
Yep. Not yet. What else? Anyone else? Did I miss anything in the chat? I haven't even opened it. Let me see.
No, it's just me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I wanted to add, if you're gonna do nuts or like nut butters or whatever for your healthy fat, just make sure they don't have any seed oils or added sugar. A lot of times they do. Trader Joe's has pretty decently priced raw nuts. They're probably the best price I've been able to find.
So
As opposed to like Whole Foods where you're going to pay like $14 for a little pack of like raw nuts, which is absurd. But yeah, that's just been my take.
yeah, same. I usually buy my stuff like that at Trader Joe's as well. Yeah, good price. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Trader Joe's is one of those places where you have to really read your labels because some of the stuff is just glorified junk in a nicer, healthier box. But a lot of their stuff is great, and they definitely have the best prices on organic stuff that I've seen for organic produce. If it's when they have it, they don't have everything organic, obviously. I'll tell you a market that we have new by us that I've been to in the South before, but we just got it here. It's called Sprouts. So if you have a Sprouts,
Yes.
man, that place is my favorite. I go there all the time now.
Yeah.
Before Trader Joe's. They have great prices and great selection for organic stuff. So
I love Sprouts.
where are you from?
I'm in Dallas.
Okay, so South.
Nice.
I think it must have started in the South and is making its way up here because when I went, it was close to a decade ago, and it was in Virginia. And I've been waiting for one to come here. I just got one here about a month ago. I was like, we have a Sprouts. I was there on opening day, so I'm ridiculous. Sprouts is I can go to. Yeah, San Diego. Okay. Okay. I still have 10 more minutes. So if there's anything else, Ted, you have, or anyone else, I'm more than happy to help. I'm glad you were on this call, Ted, because, we used to have a weekly signature reset call that kind of got nixed because the time it didn't work for the majority of the customers. And I was sitting there with like 2 or 3 people, and it was just difficult to maintain that. So that's why we have this call now. And a lot of reset customers do come on this monthly call for the same reason. So I'm glad you
Well,
found.
yeah, this is the first time I picked up on the monthly call. It was in an email today. So, and I was working at home, fortunately, so I could do it. But I guess I also have, I was also taking supplements, um, um, fish oil, CoQ10, those type of things. Should I be thinking about adjusting any of that at this point because of what I'm getting just through the diet itself, or?
My thoughts on fish oil, I've seen some information about how a lot of the fish oil brands is actually rancid fish oil. I can send you a brand that's a little more reputable, but it's like $60 or $70 a bottle. And at that point, I would just say eat the fish.
What I was going to say also is if your goal is weight loss, having fish oil in the morning kind of negates the whole light to heavy thing. That's a common mistake people make. They don't really.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's basically getting a fat in your diet early, so it's going to kind of cause that whole thing to go off kilter. I would say, unless you're taking them for a medical reason that's like prescribed by doctor, I always recommend to my clients, personal clients outside of Rogen, to stop all supplements when they're on a new regimen and see how you feel. And then if you need to add them in after, have a blood test or something, then you can see what you actually need. Because when you start really nourishing your body the right way with the green juices, you eliminate a lot of need for a lot of extra things. Not perfect. I mean, there might still be things you need to supplement, but you might be supplementing without need, possibly spending money for nothing. So I think I saw a question.
Yeah, I was thinking vitamin C and like that. I don't think I need that anymore.
Not right now, you don't. You certainly don't. If you're doing it right, you're not, again.
There is a question in the side from
Yeah.
Kara.
I'm doing a 3-day protein cleanse. Any suggestions coming out of the cleanse? It's been a while. Curious as to some meal snack options. Yes. This is why we actually created the Stay Skinny method. I should say I created it because people were not sure what to do after a cleanse. And it obviously makes sense to do that after a skinny cleanse or a lower sugar cleanse. And I'm actually in the middle of working on the protein method, which is going to be meant to be a post-cleanse product for the protein cleanse people. So not here yet, but it's coming. But the basis of it is the same. And you can do it with or without a preset, product from us. It's basically eating light to heavy every day if your goal is weight loss. So that would mean your light foods are your fat-free or very low-fat foods. That's your fruits, your vegetables, all the things I said for healthy carbs, the potatoes, the beans, the whole carbs. Those are your light foods, and you can have them in any quantity, literally without restriction, all day. And I recommend doing that until dinner time if you can, or to wait to add your first fat until like a late lunch or like a late afternoon time. And when that first fat is added, whether that's eggs, cheese, nuts, whatever that fat source might be, once that fat starts in your day, don't go back and have fruit again, unless with a single exception, well, 2 exceptions of berries or citrus, because those don't react negatively with fats. You can have those anytime. But aside from those 2, don't have sweet fruits again after the fats are started. And then as far as clean eating guidelines, I recommend not cooking in fat or oil, like I was just talking to Ted about. It's a game changer. It's hard to get used to, especially if you're Italian or if you're ethnic and you like to saute in olive oil. And it is a healthy oil, but it's not healthy once you heat it. So I recommend steaming, baking, roasting, dry roasting on parchment paper, whatever. And if you like olive oil, add it after the fact, or put it as a dressing or something. It's cold pressed, leave it that way. Don't heat it. It's just the same reason why we don't heat our juices. When you heat something, it chemically changes it. And something that's goes from being healthy to being unhealthy. So like just like an unpasteurized juice is healthy, a pasteurized juice is not. And a cold pressed oil is healthy, a heated cold pressed oil is not, in my opinion. And then I would recommend being as close to whole foods as possible with your dinner. So, vegetables, clean, lean protein, salads. I recommend having something raw at every cooked meal. So that's like my little trick that really helps sometimes lose 2 or 3 pounds here or there, is if you have something cooked, eat something raw along with it. Doesn't have to be complicated. It could just be something as having a sliced up bell pepper with your turkey sandwich. It could be having just a sliced cucumber along with your dinner if you're not having a salad. Because the raw enzymes in those raw foods will help your body properly digest the cooked food. So that leads to less bloating, better digestion, better elimination, the whole nine. So I always tell the story of my sister-in-law. When I first met her, she was interested in losing some weight, and I told her to start having something raw with something cooked. So every day she'd have a turkey sandwich and she'd have a bell pepper with it at lunch. She made sure she had a salad at dinner, and she lost 3 pounds in a week. And she did nothing else just by adding the raw in with the cooked, because her digestion was that much more improved. It's like taking a digestive enzyme with those pills you buy at the store. They're just, bromelain and papain are what make those digestive pills. And that's just, papaya and pineapple enzyme. That's all it is in a bottle form. So just eat a piece of fruit or vegetable. I mean, it's the same exact principle of getting raw enzymes. There's no reason to pop a pill to do it. So Kara, those are my best recommendations pretty much. Definitely if you are, one common mistake that people make is thinking they're doing something good for their body by switching over to plant milk from dairy milk, like, almond milk and things like that. But the majority of the plant milks I see are full of junk. So that's why you always see in our literature to find a clean plant milk. And the 3 brands I know of, Kat, I'll probably put them in the chat if I know her. Malk, 3 Trees, and Elmhurst are just nuts and water. So if you want a nut milk, if that's your preference versus, having other organic dairy milk, those are the brands I recommend. Anything else is full of seed oils, gums, sugars, nothing you want to have. So that's a common mistake people make and question I get often. I'm trying to think what else. Did I say anything that made a question for you, Kara, or did that kind of, oh, you're welcome. Let me see what you said. Thanks, that's very
Can
helpful.
you repeat the 3 milks?
Yes, it's Elmhurst.
I'm gonna put them in the chat so
Okay.
you have them readily available to you. I posted one already.
Elmhurst, 3 Trees, and Malk, MALK. They're pretty much readily available now. I mean, definitely in all Whole Foods kind of style stores, Sprouts kind of stores, but even a lot of conventional stores are starting to carry some of them.
Wegmans will have it sometimes too.
The Wegmans, okay.
Lisa, how do you feel about oat milk?
If it's clean, I'm fine with it.
Malk is the only brand I've seen that I like.
Okay.
The one that I put in the chat.
Can
I
you
like
find
it.
milk anywhere?
What did you say?
Can you find milk anywhere?
You have to, you'd have to go on their site and type in your zip code and see. I think you can Amazon it to your house. If you have, I
think it's
know.
like a ShopRite. That's like a northern chain, but I've seen it at like a ShopRite. So, I mean, some stores do carry it now. It's becoming more common.
I'll check.
Elmhurst is also very easy to find, and their hazelnut milk is phenomenal. If you like,
I love that.
yeah. So if you want like a creamier coffee with less milk, which is
Gelson's. Who's Kara? I'm from
Kara's
LA.
San Diego. She's from San Diego, she said. So you
Well,
guys
I'm from LA.
You guys know Gelson's, I guess. I don't.
It is it's the best market.
Is Erewhon in LA?
yes, it's.
That's what I want dying to go
extremely-
She said originally from Jersey, but now in San Diego.
Okay.
It's extremely expensive.
It
Erewhon.
is.
Like a shake is like $17.
Oh.
It is.
Yeah.
Their sushi and their prepared foods are so good.
Do they put like sugar in their sushi like the way Whole Foods does and like seed oils, or are they like?
I don't know. I would doubt it only because LA is a whole different grade of sushi.
Yeah.
Sure it is. Okay, we should take a trip for work purposes. We'll check out the food in LA.
The
Talk
sushi
to me
in
first.
Jersey is gross. So
What's that?
Talk to me first so I can tell you where to go.
Well, we are just about at 2, but I mean, is there anything lagging that I didn't answer? Feel free. This is your last chance to ask
I'm
it.
just going to hang out for 1 second because I wanted to talk to you for a second. And Katarina, you can be here too.
yeah, no worries.
I just don't want to take up other people's time, so I pop back on.
So since you mentioned sushi, does that fit into the program as an evening
Absolutely.
meal
I eat it all the
Okay.
time. Yep.
with
you
the
wanna make
rice and the
sure-
whole 9 yards? Okay,
Yeah, just you don't want tempura. You don't want the crunchy.
right.
You don't want the eel sauces and all the junk on them. You just want to have like the cleaner rolls. So that's either the vegetable rolls or the like just the fish and avocado kind of style rolls. None of the like the fancy, delicious ones that are full of junk. You don't want to eat
Yeah.
those.
You want the more raw ones or like the steamed
Sashimi,
asparagus or whatever.
Right.
And if I haven't done soy sauce in years. I use coconut amino, and Lisa actually uses lemon, and it's pretty good.
I use
'Cause
them.
Yeah. So you don't need, it's actually delicious without the sauce. Believe it or not, the sauce covers up a lot of the actual taste of what you're supposed to taste, in my opinion. But who am I?
You can use white or brown, Kara. I mean, I used to be a big brown rice advocate, and I still do love brown rice, but I'm also okay with white rice. And I haven't noticed any difference in my health or my weight as a result of using one versus the other. So I think you can safely use either.
Mhm. Lisa, I had a question about the signature reset.
Yep.
Is it a group, or is it possible to do it with a group? Is there, I think I saw on the website there was a group, or was, I'm not sure.
So we have done it a few times as a group
Mhm.
when I had the weekly calls, and it worked in the beginning, and then it was harder for people to make the calls because the only time I could do them like at a time that worked for all time zones was like 1 o'clock Eastern time, and that was
Okay.
a hard time for most people to make it. And I wasn't honestly willing to give up like at 8 o'clock at night every weeknight to do it. I tried for a while, I just couldn't sustain it. So there's not really an official group per se anymore that does it all together. However, with the Juice Club, the Katarina manages, there's like regular support there for anyone doing any of the programs where you can ask questions every day. They go directly to her, and then she puts them to me if I need to know. Or there's also the reset email, which is the signature reset that goes directly to me every time. So if you have like direct questions personally with your program, you can get the support that way too. And then with the program itself, I pre-wrote hundreds, if not thousands, of texts and emails that you get on a cadence if you sign up for them at the right day. So every week you get a check-in email with new recipes, and every day you get my check-in text messages that kind of help you stay on track.
Okay.
So people find that really helpful too. Yeah, that's the best it is at this point.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so if that's it, I'm going to stop the recording and wish you all a wonderful day. And so just so you know, like I was saying in the beginning, this is a mistake. This Thursday call, they're always the first Wednesday of the month, but the email was not sent properly. So that's why you guys never got the link yesterday. So, but typically first Wednesday of the month, which means next month is, what is it? Let me see. September 4th is our next call. You'll get an email just like this, like in the beginning of the week, to remind you, and the link will come the day of in text and email form, so you can join next.
I also try to remind you guys on the Facebook group too, if I remember, but sometimes that's not always the case.
That's probably.
Okay, when you're done, can I keep you for 1 minute?
Sure. Yeah, I'll just stop the recording before then. So
Thank you.
have a good
Bye.
day.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Don't be afraid to write on the Facebook group.